They're looking for you guys. There's got to be some misunderstanding.
So come and get us.
Yeah. No, they don't want to arrest me. These guys. Look at his lip. Somebody threw a fucking tire chain, hit him right in the mouth. Scratches made by human fingernails. This kid is taking a savage beating.
Hey, fellas, there's 6 of them out there for us.
6? Yeah. You're gonna put you in the same jail with Oglethorpe.
Oglethorpe, there you go. Some more Slapshot. Welcome to the Friday the Big Show. I'm Steve Westman, Audiophile Roundtable. You see this roundtable today. I've got Mazzy. Hello, Mazzy.
Hi.
Mr. George Borden. Hello.
I just heard records at the door. I'll be right back.
More records, more promos. I love it. I've got Josh from Hi-Fidelity Records. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
I've got Tim from University of Vinyl. Hello, Tim.
Hey, everybody.
And someone brand new to the channel, first time ever on the Big Show, Chance Concert. Buddy, how are you? How was this week leading up to this? How'd you feel about everything?
Listen, Steve, there's been a lot of training involved. I'm sure you guys saw me on other streams. I was ready. I got my sweat towel. I'm right here. First time, long time. I'm ready to make it happen.
I noticed you're on a lot of streams sort of warming up towards this show today. That's excellent. So
Get my cuts in, like they say in baseball. Get my cuts in.
Getting the cuts in. Well, guys, thank you so much. If you haven't, please subscribe, Concert Buddy. Please subscribe to George Borden. Please subscribe to University of Vinyl, of course, Mazzy. Guys, thank you. This is going to be a big show today. What'd you get there?
I can't talk about it now. It's advanced record store day stuff.
Okay.
My lips are sealed.
Let's get into a little bit of news here. We had one of our viewers said, Steve, did you see this article? I said, what article, Nicholas? And thank you, Nicholas, for letting me know. This was the original Stickman from the Led Zeppelin 4. This is the actual photograph. It was actually just found recently. And they use that for, as you can see, that cover there.
Was it found in Jimmy Page's sock drawer?
I don't know. There's an article in CNN, but yeah. So thank you, Nicholas. If you're watching right now, I said I'd give him a shout out for that. So I appreciate that. That was pretty cool. And then our friend Jeff Edgers from Washington Post. And if you guys are Rush fans, I know maybe one person here isn't right now, but Jeff just put out a new article today. There was never a band like Rush. Geddy Lee doesn't want to forget it. So it's a great article. Incredibly written. I read it and definitely suggest having a look at that article if you're into Rush. Geddy Lee, fellow Canadian, what can I say? But yeah, and lots going on this week, and I will announce I have something really exciting to announce on my channel coming up on Tuesday, November 14th at 12:30. I'm doing a live Rhino Hi-Fidelity release announcement with the AR of Rhino, Patrick Milligan. So myself and Patrick will be on to announce the next 2 Rhino Hi-Fi records that will be on the website November 17th. So exclusive on the Westman Show. So I'm excited about that. So guys, thank you so much. I was listening to Counting Crows last night, the August and everything after everything else. I forget the name of the actual, here it is here. This one here. What do you mean why? This is August and everything after.
I'm thinking of Black Crowes.
No, I don't like the Black Crowes. A great album. I mean, the second track was Omaha, right? I mean, it got into, I really always liked that track. And
is that Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones is after that one, but Omaha. And I just want to say, I mean, somewhere in the middle of America, and this was 1993 this came out. I was shocked looking at something about Omaha today. It's a top city for drug use. It's one of the worst places in America for drug use right now. So somewhere in the middle of America, Omaha. So it's pretty sad. But Counting Crows sang about it back in 1993.
Chase the Dragon.
There you go. So I want to.
Hang on, sorry guys, I gotta shoot up real quick.
There you go. You're not in Omaha. You're not in Omaha.
I'm close.
Do you have a specific address?
Yeah.
Do you have a specific address in Omaha where all the good stuff is?
What San Francisco psychedelic band had a great single called Omaha?
I don't know.
Will be great.
Okay. There you go. So, but Counting Crows, Omaha, somewhere in the middle of America. Pretty sad. Other news. Do you guys want other news? No? I was trying to get this guy on our show. He wrote an article in the LA Times. Mikhail Woods. It was an article that was on, I guess, a few days back in LA Times, the unmasking of the narcissistic conspiracy spreading baby boomer rock star.
Which one?
So he talks about Roger Waters, he talks about Eric Clapton, and he talks about Van Morrison. So it's
Wait
definitely
a second. This guy stole my wanker concept.
Oh, well, he's on your corner, Mazzy.
So I tried to get him on the show. I went on to X, formerly known as Twitter, and I said, hey, this is what we do. Would you love to come on to talk about this article? And he's ghosted me, so he's not getting any time on our show.
We're gonna add it to the wanker list, maybe.
Yeah. So read that. So basically, what it is just talking about Clapton, talking about Van Morrison, and obviously they're not liking the whole COVID vaccine and the lockdowns and blah 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 blah. And of course, the whole Roger Waters thing. We already know that. So it was an okay article. But yeah, I wanted him on to talk about that, but heard nothing back. So I don't know. So I wanted to start off. I know. Josh, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Josh, I have something here. Okay. Josh, there's an elephant in the room.
Sure.
Okay. Can we talk about that elephant?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So I think the last time I was on the show, we talked a little bit about the tapes for the UHQR here of Asia. And I think a lot of people kind of maybe took a little bit of some of the things I said out of context, and maybe as it happens on the internet, people hear things and then they hear what they want to hear. You know, I was never trying to cause any issues or cause any apprehension about the product or anything like that. I was mentioning something that I'd heard from a reliable source. And in the end, it's not that big of a deal anyways. The Asia is all analog. It sounds awesome. Whether it's an EQ tape, a non-EQ tape, whether it was a tape they found in a basement in Sri Lanka, whatever, you know what I mean? It's awesome. The reviews are coming in. The unbiased reviews from the consumers are coming in and people love it. Seriously, y'all, it's not that big a deal. It's going to be okay. I have nothing against Chad or Analog Productions. Yes, I worked there. I love a lot of the people there. I love the people there. There's great people there, and they're doing a great thing. And, I regret that I caused any apprehension, and I regret that if it caused any problems for anybody. That certainly wasn't my intention. And I don't come on here spewing things that rumors that maybe I haven't heard from reliable sources either. So take that what you will, and let's just enjoy the music, and let's stop fighting on the Steve Hoffman forums and calling each other names behind pictures that aren't ourselves. You know what I mean? I'm coming on here with my face, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and it's my opinion, but I have no agenda. I'm just a fan like everybody else. I did happen to work at Analog Productions. So
I think I don't know if it was true or not, and you believe, whoever told you trust them. I'm sure that's totally valid. I think the criticism came by when you have two sources or more. And I know we're not journalists. You're not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. But it's sort of, and a lot of people will call us wankers being on here. Who are we to say things on YouTube just because we're on YouTube? Whereas the wankers in the Hoffman Forum or anywhere else can say the same things, but we tend to get a little larger audience, and it echoes obviously lately. So I think that's fair criticism there. That's my take on it. I don't know what the reality. And as I said, the record sounds friggin' great no matter what the source is. I agree.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start with that too. Of course, there's been a lot of Asia, news on the forums. I wanted to start with Tim, University of Vinyl, because he did a really cool video here. I'll put it up right now. Why I bought a $150 turkey instead of the Asia UHQR. So what I did, Tim, I said, Tim likes turkey. So there's Tim's turkey. Instead of buying the UHQR on the left, that's Tim's turkey that he bought, the $150 version. So tell us, Tim, again, why you bought turkey instead of the Asia UHQR. The screen is yours.
It was just a timing thing. I love, as everybody knows, I love Steely Dan, but Asia it's not my favorite Steely Dan album. And you know what? If it would have come out a month ago like it was originally slated to come out, I might be sitting here right now enjoying it. But I talk about in the video how we always get a fresh turkey for Thanksgiving, and for some reason there's a shortage of fresh turkeys. So I had to go inquire at Whole Foods. Everybody knows Whole Paycheck. and I found out that the fucking turkey is going to be about $150, and it's just it's a practicality cash flow thing. We all have to look at our budgets. I'm not, in 2 months' time, I might be sitting here with the UHQR. However, I will say, I have the Countdown to Ecstasy UHQR. I've listened to it twice in the last 6 months. It's a fantastic recording. I love it. But old man talk, I prefer 33 cuts. For whatever reason, I think it the flow is better. But I have heard that video that I put out has been the fastest growing viral video I think I've ever done.
You're almost at 9,000 views. That's incredible. Way to go.
Almost at 9,000 views. It's been up for less than a week. But thank you everybody for watching. I love all the feedback I've received. Everybody knows I love Steely Dan. It was just kind of a different take. I thought it was a little humorous. Some people are like really like.
Hold on, Tim. You like turkey. You don't like Asia.
You have to hear it. I can't believe that you're not listening to it.
I love that. I think turkey is great. Let me ask you this, because I did the Whole Foods things once, and I don't know if it's the same. Usually the 150 or whatever the price is basically includes a turkey dinner with sides and things. Is that not the deal?
Hell no. I just wanted a fresh turkey. I have a kind of a fun little Traeger pellet smoker. I've been smoking turkeys for
you're actually cooking it, because they do the full meals. That's
So what I think you should do this, Tim.
So do the full meal.
Tim, when you're basically making this $150 Tim likes turkey, and instead of the UHQR, why don't you listen to your AB 1006 while you're smoking your turkey and make a video video?
One of the premise points of the video was I just found another AB 1006 about 3 weeks prior, near mint condition, sounds amazing, Santa Maria pressing, and I just decided, hey, I'm going to pass on the Asia UHQR for the time being. So anyway, I've got Gaucho on order. If that makes any difference.
Let me ask you this.
I was going to ask you that.
I assume you're prepping the turkey. You're either basting it or whatever, right? And
I do a dry brine.
So there are a lot of different steps, right? Wait, see where I'm going here?
No,
so it's definitely not a one-step turkey.
It's about.
I had to set up the joke, okay, Tim.
I got it. Tim likes turkey. That's it.
I forgot. Oh, you have to spatchcock the turkey as well. That's a good word. Don't worry about
what? Wait.
Spatchcock.
Where's that censor button?
Wow. This is a family show, Tim.
Anyway, that's where I am with that. Thanks everybody for all the views and the comments. I really appreciate it. But
it's been good.
Enjoy the record.
So, Mr. Borden, Mr. George Borden, your thoughts? Do you own the UHQR Asia?
I never need to hear that again. I've listened to that record every single day from, I don't know, maybe 1990 to 2015 or something like that. Like every single time that somebody tests the system, every time somebody comes into a studio, every time you're in a live situation. I mean, I've heard it on I've heard it on $5 million, $6 million systems. I know exactly what it sounds like. I know how good it can sound.
He got censored.
He's been sent to the shadow realm.
Whoa.
Chad just turned the switch. He had that big power switch. And Selena,
don't bad talk here.
Asia.
Okay, next.
Wow. Okay, so next we'll take George. He got censored. So from the head office in Kansas, Concert Buddy.
Yes,
your
sir.
Thoughts?
Yeah, about Asia. So I'm coming at this probably from a different point of view. Actually, George, you want the floor?
George,
back?
you're back.
Well, I don't even understand why this. I just did like a 12-hour stream the other night, never had a single problem, and now all of a sudden I'm on here and right in the middle, and I've been listening to people talk. All I'm gonna say is
we get censored here. That's the problem, George.
I've heard Asia a million times over. I've heard it on the best systems that the world has to offer, millions and millions of dollars of systems. I don't need to hear it again. I know how good it can sound. I know how bad it can sound. Never sounds bad. Always sounds good. That's it.
All right.
Okay,
Chance, your turn.
All right. So I'm coming at this a little bit different point of view. I know of Steely Dan. I know of the UHQR series. I'm a completist, so I am buying them because I trust. I have blind brand loyalty.
So hold on, were you born when Steely Dan Asia came out released?
No,
Oh,
I'm
there you
a
go.
79er. I'm a 79er, so I
You
missed
were
it by 2 years.
you were close.
I was close. Yeah, I missed the cutoff, right? For
That's
the
the year ABC got bought out by MCA, and I got laid off initially. So
Did they give you a good severance package though, Mazzy?
no,
or
but I got hired back for a year by MCA, but then they laid us off again.
So VQR says, George, you need to hear it on the UHQR on a $5 million system.
I have.
The UHQR.
So
version.
No,
do you have it?
No.
Concert?
yeah. So I have it and I've listened to it and I like it, but I don't know if I need to put on an oven mitt for this because I don't want to start any controversy. But I've got it ready because I don't think it's the best Steely Dan UHQR. I said it. You know which one it is?
Pretzel Logic.
I think
Pretzel Logic.
I think it's this one.
Yeah.
I think
Can't
and
buy
it's not a blowaway. It because Asia's nice, but this is it. So if you want to spend that turkey money that Tim's talking about on one of these guys, this is the one. Still in print.
I think that's their best
limited
album.
stock. Limited stock.
That's my favorite album.
And that's my favorite album as well. I agree with you.
And there probably comes in some bias with that because a lot of the hits are on it, and that's probably what I grew up listening to around the house and so forth. So I'll preface with that, but
okay.
But Asia's nice.
George,
not as nice as
I will buy Royal Scam. That's my favorite Steely Dan record. Very close to my heart. Love that record. Grew up listening to it. Love it. And it was the one that wasn't forced on me by my parents. It was the one I kind of found on my own. I will buy that because it has a.
I can just see if you're not really making videos. I could just see your clickbait headline. Chad Kassem, the Royal Scam. That would be it, right?
See, no, man, I know. I was telling you this morning. I make videos all the time. It's just nobody watches them.
So anyone else want to talk about Asia? We know what Tim's doing. We know Chance. Anyone else? Josh?
Yeah.
Oh, I should. And Josh, you have it. You have the UHQR. Did I ask you that already?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I love it. Like Chance, I wasn't born when it came out either, but
yes,
I do remember hearing it when I was young, whether it was on AM, FM radio. So I think a lot of people, or at least I do, I can remember being a little kid and hearing it. And so it's involved or tied to some good memories for me, specifically Asia for some apparent reason. And so whenever I listen to it, I get that feeling of being a little kid. And when times were simpler, am I old enough to say that? When times were simpler. So that's, but yeah, I love it.
Do you have a source for that? Times are simpler. Is there a source?
You're just gonna have to trust me on that one. That's coming straight from the heart. That's but anyways,
there's an argument. There's an argument on the Hoffman forums about when actually times were simpler. It's about 30 pages long. Go check it out.
Right.
But I love it. I think that the Cisco's awesome. I really think if you're like, man, screw this 45 business. I'm not into getting up every 6 or 7 minutes. I like the Cisco a lot, but you can, like, Tim was saying, you can find the ABs all over the place, and or George, I'm sorry. You can find the ABs everywhere. And if you can find a clean one of those, I mean, you're really in business because it was a great sounding album to begin with. So,
I
got it
I
right
thought
there.
the song Asia I've never heard it that good. And now I haven't heard it on any version on a $6 million system. So maybe that's my deficiency there. But Asia, that's the heart of the record. That and the song on side 2, I forget the one with
I like Home at Last. That's
Deacon Blues. Deacon Blues,
those two. But Asia, just obviously with the Steve Gadd break and the Wayne Shorter sax, and oh my God, that and as I said, if anyone says it's a yacht rock record, there might be some Steely Dan songs that are in other albums, but they're not a friggin' yacht rock.
Hang on a second. Are you saying there's an issue with yacht rock, Mazzy? Because yacht rock is delightful, particularly when you're on a yacht, which I've been.
You're a sports guy. Of course you like yacht rock.
My only concern about having a yacht, do they have record players on a yacht?
Not the yacht I was on. There was, unfortunately,
it's pretty hard. How do you have a record player on a yacht?
This was not the minnow, Mazzy. I snuck on, and it was a delightful evening. That's all I can say publicly.
Yeah.
So I guess we're all in agreement. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Gaucho. I mean, that was 1980. I won a Grammy for best album or best recorded album as well. I think it won more than one. I'm excited to see what happens with the UHQR process on that one. I believe that will come out sometime next year. Would that be true?
I thought it was supposed to come out in December.
Is it December? I don't know. I'm asking. I haven't looked at the release date.
December release. Yeah, I think I've read everything. Yeah.
I'm not trying to besmirch anybody, but I always figured Gaucho was just Asia momentum. And that's just me.
Yeah. People are so burnt out on Steely Dan, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles right now. So, and
true,
we're partly responsible, but but people are buying those records now. So, right.
So
guess what? Let's have some bands that are just. We'll stop talking about those bands when there's some bands that are as good as those bands.
Well,
that's not man talk. That's on the real.
I'm getting this release. New Order's going to be redoing their Substance. That's coming out, so that'll be fun. I'm a big fan of New Order. I mean, I grew up with that, so that's reissued, remastered. I think that comes out next week, so I pre-ordered that. That's something that's not Beatles, and I like the Counting Crows. That's not Beatles. But we want to talk. Hang on, but we want to talk Beatles. I know you want to talk Beatles because
I don't. Because I only listen to the. This is all I'm going to say. I'll make a video, but I only listen to the Red because the Red is. We haven't heard those remixes yet, and 2 of the songs are friggin' terrible. Bass heavy.
So let's talk about this. Is a Love Me Do?
Love Me Do and Please Please Me. And from my taste, my rig. Everything else is actually, it was pretty good. I won't get into the differences now. It takes too long. But I agree. George and I would have this conversation. There's no mention, aside from a 2023 date, nothing
on the hype. But the hype sticker would say remix.
Yeah, but when you buy it, when you have a record, most people, the hype sticker would.
Yeah, but that's not enough.
It's not enough. It has to be.
It's nowhere in the liner notes that it's being remixed. I mean, or anything on there.
People may hate the cover of Let It Be Naked, but that reversal negative, that's not Let It Be forever. If you sell it, if you resell it, if you find it in a used store, no way you're going to know this. Most mere mortals will not know this is a remixed album, and that's bullshit.
So nowhere on there it doesn't say remix beside the.
Well, if you pull out the tracks, if you pull out an insert, but that's not the point.
But it says it on the insert, though.
As I said, remember the Led Zeppelin boxes that came out? You had that second disc with the negatives of the image. Something like that would make sense. Now, a good designer could come up with some kind of concept to make this different. I don't know what that would be, whether it's a black and white version of these or of course that doesn't sell, but something different. Or
do that double where they're up on the upper balcony and the lower balcony, like they did on, you know what I mean? Like have them on both, but reverse them,
Maybe there's an outtake like Abbey Road. When they did Abbey Road remix, they should have used one of the outtakes where the
reverse one. I agree. And it took me a while to sort of wrap my head around this. We had this conversation. I agree with all these remixes. The Beatles should have had different album covers in each one. I actually have to agree with that now.
Pink Floyd did it with Animals. Whether you like the remix or not, that's not the point, but that's a different version.
The line of demarcation. Yep.
Right.
So I listened to it on streaming today. I listened to Day Tripper because it's one of my favorite songs that was recorded during the Revolver time, and of course We Can Work It Out. Now We Can Work It Out. I mean, I hear the guitars are a little bit more. What do you got there? Oh, the Animals. There you go.
There's no way to mistake one of these for the other. But it's clear that it's the same record. This is Animals. This is Animals.
That's perfect.
Power Plant.
Pretty cool way they did that. Yeah,
exactly. It's not rocket science. It's good art direction.
So I feel We Can Work It Out. I hear the guitars more than I ever have on that song. Does that make sense? And I didn't realize that George only plays the tambourine, Mazzy, on that song. Did you know that?
What?
I forgot.
On We Can Work It Out. Apparently he only plays the tambourine in that song. He doesn't play the guitar.
Well, that sounds great, that song. You know what really excited me though, the tracks from Rubber Soul. So I'm looking forward to the Rubber Soul remix because actually, but that's all I have to say about it for now.
And I liked Day Tripper. That's another one of my favorite songs as well. And it's funny too, if you listen to the opening of the opening of Day Tripper, that's a Bobby Parker song, right? That's Watch Your Step. I mean, that's what Lennon really used when he went and tried to make that song. So Bobby Parker, Watch Your Step, sort of the same chord sequence. It's interesting. Yes, George.
Every single time, every time I watch somebody review these new remixes, I want to stab my eye with a fork. Because like,
oh my God.
George,
When you do it though, we need the content.
like this,
there
and they
it
just twist it. because here's the thing. One of the things that they always go is, oh, the vocals are finally in the middle. Well, listen to the mono version then. Like, just listen to the mono. Why? Look, there was only so many choices to make in stereo back in the day, and they, if everything is committed to track 1, it's going to go over there, and everything in track 2 is going to, just like, and everybody's always, oh, the vocals are right up the middle now, the bass and the drums are right up in the middle instead of being all the way over here. Well, just listen to the mono one.
I agree. That's not necessary. It's modeled. The stereo now is too much like the mono, actually.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that when Giles Martin was remixing Sgt. Pepper, he said he used the mono as his template.
That's right.
Well, then what
but George, remember back in the day? I mean, how long did George Martin spend on a stereo mix after the Beatles cut a record? What was it, like 8 hours doing the stereo mix?
Well,
not a lot of time.
The engineer sat there.
It doesn't take long once you've done a mono.
It's because they didn't have 4 people in the back going, more me, turn this up, pan that over there. They just sat down, took the notes, and put the stuff into stereo. But like, I guess, it's like, I know people want to go, hey, they need to be, somebody even said, I'm not naming names, but somebody said in their thing about this was that, like, now people can finally hear what the Beatles were, doing. And no, you're not. That's not what the Beatles were doing. What the Beatles were doing was in 1965. They're gone now. Half of them are dead. It's over.
True.
Move on. And if you don't like it, then find a new band. Go listen to that weird cult dude, that Jared Leto guy. You can see him in a movie, and then you can see him
30 seconds to Mars fans are revolting, George. I just want to let you know.
There you go. Just listen to that and move on. But
like, if you pick up their mascara and their eyeliner, and they're coming for you.
Isn't he Joker number 3 or something, or 5?
Yes. Yeah, he's number 3. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, should we listen to the next time you watch Casablanca, should it be in color? And should we put, Bruce Willis in there? Like, should we change it around and make Casablanca more, or redo the, it's like, even when somebody redoes a movie, it's like different actors, they change things around a little bit. Like, let the Beatles just be the Beatles. And if you don't like the Beatles, go like someone else.
We keep telling them this is all about money. This is a business. The 2 estates, Paul plus Ringo. Here's a chance to capitalize, make more money off a catalog that's 60 years old plus. So that's what's happening.
Look at all the people that are employed. Look at all.
If they kept putting the original catalog out in the stores, the original catalog, it would still be selling.
I want to see the mono box back out. That'd be cool.
That's what I mean.
Like the mono records. Keep them stereo and mono. Keep them in print. They're the fucking Beatles. That's all you need.
That's what I mean.
I got a question for the dais, because I know we got some Beatles fans here. Is this situation similar to when George Lucas went back and tinkered with the Star Wars? Like, you had the original trilogy, and he just couldn't leave it alone, and the technology was there. So then he has weird Jabba the Hutt talking to Han Solo.
I hated that Jabba the Hutt scene. The new
and you
one.
can't get the original. You can't find the original anymore.
No.
Can I answer Phil? Phil, I'm not bitching about it. Somebody asked me what I thought about it, so I'm answering it on a program where somebody brought up the question, "What do you think about it?" When I'm sitting at home by myself, I don't even think about it. As a matter of fact, I own all of them, and I've listened to all of them. So it's like, I'm just as bad as everybody else. I buy them too, but never once have I ever said, look, again, it's like me and Mazzy are saying, the real problem is the original stuff is now gone. It's discontinued, and now you can't buy the originals. And that's the only problem I really have with the whole thing. If somebody wants to remix it and listen to the remixes, that's fine. Just do it. But let's keep the old ones still in stock, and let's just make sure that it's clear that this is not what they released at the time. This is not what the Beatles did. This is something that somebody else did to the Beatles.
But again, it was approved by Paul and Ringo and the estate. So I mean, they are approving this stuff. I mean, just so I guess it's
Magical Mystery Tour. The movie was approved by Paul.
Was he on? Was he on LSD then? Did he try LSD by that point? Because that's
God,
pretty
yes.
much it.
God.
Wasn't willing.
He was
It
having
didn't
it
work for him.
He was the last to use it, right? The guys were giving him
He
shit.
was the
because-
guy that said when he was interviewed, he said yes, and people got pissed off, that he actually said yes. He goes, "Hey, they asked me. They shouldn't have asked me. I took LSD. I tripped."
Definitely.
So I think George, the Beatles, this whole new remix is for trying to get a new audience. I think we've talked about this. I think we've established that. That's what this is about.
Yep, that's what we've established.
Apparently, hang on. Apparently, I look like Lando Calrissian's sidekick in The Empire Strikes Back, huh?
And just the last thing I'll say about that is that I've not seen one young person come on and go, "Hey, I've now been turned on to the Beatles because of these new remixes." I just see a bunch of old fucks like us complaining about it and comparing them to the originals and looking forward. It just seems like it's like still us. It doesn't seem like it's. I've seen the young kids coming up going, "Hey, you got to check out this blue one."
Well, we got some young kids here. We got Josh. We got Chance. They're young.
There you go. All right.
We're old enough to remember Arsenio Hall.
What are your thoughts on the new
That's
Beatles
right.
remix? What are your thoughts on the new Beatles remix, guys? What are your thoughts?
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it now. I'm waiting because I've done this dance before where I've had a passive interest in something and then I bought it right away and then I could have got it for 30, 40, 60% off.
Like the Let It Be record is on Chad's website for $85.
Right. It's a great example. So if
money
I do,
again, what about the music? Stupid. Had you
wow.
Have you heard it?
I listened to some of it. Somebody put some samples up on the Hoffman forum last night. I think when they first started, I did listen to the Walrus remix. It's okay, but is it something that's so fantastic that I was up at 6 o'clock this morning going to my local? No.
But I think Mazzy, you hit it though too. It's a big business. There's lots of people involved in this Beatles business, and it's creating jobs and
I've said this many times.
as well.
You
have
the
said
record business. When you're signed to a label, whether you're a legacy act like the Beatles, the Estates, or you're a new artist, you depend in collaboration with your label to promote the hell out of your records, to get it online streaming, to get it in stores, to get it pressed, to do color variants if that's what it takes, because physical is making up for all the people streaming, and the artists are getting fucked still on streaming with few exceptions. So, support your local artists through Bandcamp or on physical media. So if they're doing a bunch of Beatles stuff and people at Universal and Apple or the art directors, the shippers, the mastering engineers, the collators, the marketing people, the salespeople are making money, that keeps the record business going. Yeah, but buy new artists, support new artists. I'm totally for that. That's why I held this up. Now,
what do you got there? Let's see that.
Cat Power. I love Cat Power. Cat Power. What's interesting about this, she's singing Dylan. She's emulating the 66 Royal Albert Hall concert recorded in London at the Royal Albert Hall. The irony, which people may not know, that famous Your Judas concert of Bob Dylan, it was not recorded at the Royal Albert Hall. It was recorded in Manchester, England. And it was always for years bootlegged of the wrong venue. So even though it's called the Royal Albert Hall, it wasn't recorded there. But Cat Power, great vocalist. I don't know if you've heard her album, The Greatest. I don't know. She's an amazing American singer, kind of raspy voice. Just put this record out. Actually, it came out today. And I haven't heard it yet. I've only heard one track. But that's new artist or new-ish. Maybe she's around for 15 years now, doing a retro thing. But
open the gatefold, Messi. Let's see it.
Which is all the
just okay.
Yeah. But Royal Albert Hall, very infamous for a lot of reasons. Contra for George, how many holes it filled to fill the Albert Hall, etc.
So Josh, you've got something up there. What do you got there?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I thought I'd go ahead and take us into the best AAA pressings for under 60.
Sure.
Here's number one for me. It is the Impex 45 edition of Friday Night in San Francisco. It's cut at 45 RPM. It's done by Chris Bellman at Bernie Grumman Mastering. I love. There's not a bad version of this. The original, I believe, is a Sterling or a master disc. And then we had, there's been some other different versions. There's a Speaker's Corner, which I think is my favorite 33. But This just bests it. All of the 33 versions. This I put this on for my girlfriend who's not what I would call an audiophile, and she was like, "Wow, they sound like they are in the room with us." And I agree. You know, this is still in print. You can get this $59.99. Pick it up before it's gone again, because it was gone for a couple years.
I know we're going to talk.
Fantastic. Impulse had to do a mea culpa.
Great.
Saturday night when it came out, it turned out it was digital, and they didn't tell anyone initially. But it still sounds great.
So Josh, thanks we'll do that good segue. So $60 or less AAA stuff that's still out there. I mean, I'm going to go one bigger and say, go back to the Speaker's Corner website, whatever's available there. There's some great pressings. All the Speaker's Corner cuts that I have sound incredible. And I think Josh has another one right there. Is that Speaker's Corner? I think it is.
Yeah, Speaker's Corner, Fred Wesley and the Horny Horns.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
why the audiophile reissue labels have ignored funk and soul is beyond me. But this is what you're getting right here. This is basically funkadelic. So you got Fred Weasley and the Horny Horns, which are obviously on every funkadelic and Parliament record. You know, Bootsy's on this dude, and I mean, it's cut by Kevin Gray. This thing slams. I mean, knock your as our good friend Chad Kassem used to say, it'll knock your dick in the dirt. I think.
This is a family show.
My children's ears.
We've got young people. Chances here today.
Is that
we have young people on the show, Josh?
Is that still available, Josh?
It is. It's still available on Acoustic Sounds website. I think it's still available on Elusive Disc as well. But yeah,
I know the record.
Based on this is slamming.
And
I've got two.
And I will also say, I mean, broad stroke again. I like a lot of this Atlantic 75 stuff as well for the price as well. I'm just so everyone knows. And
Let's talk about
obvious.
Let's talk about $30 or less. And
do it.
Let's talk about Chris Bellman. You can go find all the original David Lee Roth. Chris Bellman.
Like 2015, right, Tim? 2015.
Yeah, this is a 2015, and they're still out there. You can walk into a Barnes and Noble, and they're in the racks. And then, of course, Mr. Neil Young. This is AAA, and it sounds amazing. Many people think it sounds better than the originals, and of course, it's very clean and noise free. But that's like $25 right now. I was in Barnes and Noble. I don't do all my shopping at Barnes and Noble. I was there the other day, and we actually have here in Colorado, where I am in my town, Fort Collins, we have a pretty huge vinyl department in there. And I was just looking around. I was like, I was actually trying to find that Chrome Dreams record that I can't find currently. So anyway, and both of those are Chris Bellman cuts. Chris Bellman kills it, and he did a bunch of one more, and then I'll let people move on. He's done a bunch for the Zappa Family Trust as well. Prescott Palace, this particular one, fantastic. That's like $32.
Awesome. Yeah.
And you can still buy a turkey.
And then you can go buy a frozen turkey. Yes. Depending on
George Borden, what do you have for us?
I don't really pay attention to whether a record is analog or digital.
Okay.
I just buy the record and then I take it home. But I got this recently from Acoustic Sounds. Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Right.
nice.
That's all analog. Yeah.
I'm assuming it is, but I don't check. And then another one that I bought semi recently in the last couple of years that I really am enjoying is this Paul Chambers Bass on Top.
That's a good one.
Liking it. And those are my two. Well, and this one I don't know about, but this sounds great. It's the Buena Vista Social Club.
Ry Cooder produced.
Yeah. This sounds great. I don't know what it is, but sounds good.
World Circuit Nonsuch or Nunsuch.
Does anyone have the Speaker's Corner, the Captain in Me? Can anyone comment?
Captain and Tennille?
The Doobie Brothers?
Yes, the Doobies.
Yacht Rock.
I have it. It sounds great. I've got it.
Okay.
I want to do a shout out to Intervention Records because they're just south of me, Gig Harbor, Washington. and there are $40 and under. Like, and all these are not available. I think this still is. All analog, $40. I don't know if these are all available, but they did amazing analog versions of the Burrito Brothers and of Gene Clark. And now these are great. Unfortunately, these are $45 because they're double records. I don't think they're in print now, maybe, but they will repress, hopefully. The Matthews Suite, stunning sounding record. So, you know, if you can do a double album for $45, come on.
Killing it. Those are awesome. I have those on SACD, and they're awesome as well.
Yeah. Intervention's a great label. One man, Shane Bittner.
I've asked Shane a few times to come on the show. I have not gotten a response back. I'd love to have Shane on to get, to pick his brain and see see where his company is going. That's for sure.
Definitely good stuff.
He's got to have an uphill battle because he's just a one man band, and trying to get scheduling slots for vinyl pressings.
And not everything is analog because he did Everclear.
That
one's did.
So he's doing the titles that other people aren't doing. Even those early Frampton. Now people say I don't need a Frampton, but I tell you, When to Change before Frampton Comes Alive is a friggin' great. Now
the Frampton that's on his website? I think that was only limited press to 2,500 or 2,000. You can still get that right now.
It's a box set of 3 records.
A great deal, and it's still available.
I didn't get it because I have those records, and as much as I play them, but especially When to Change sounds really good.
I have the Starfish album. I don't have it on Intervention, but it's a great album.
Yeah, it's excellent.
It's a great album. So getting back, one thing, I know I see all these YouTube, it's all about the Beatles. I'm just again gonna say it's all about basically it's a business. That's why they're out doing this thing. You can either buy it and like it or dislike it, but that's what it's going to be. Would anyone disagree with that? It's a business, and it's creating buzz. People are going to buy it. Are the younger people going to listen to the Beatles? I was watching some comments here, and a lot of basically a lot are saying no, they're not going to. The Beatles might be done after this generation. In 20 years, we might people won't be listening to the Beatles or buying the Beatles records. That's a big possibility. I guess they'll be buying Drake and Taylor Swift.
Well, there'll be a lot of used ones available.
Yeah, but the remix ones, right, George? Not the originals.
Originals. I'm going to be gone. There's going to be a shitload of originals spilling into the market in a few years.
Yeah, and someone was just making the point that eventually they'll just come back with the original ones, the way that nature intended. Here's the Beatles, the original catalog, all put together for you. You know what? That would be a brilliant marketing campaign. Maybe that's what they're planning on doing.
Well, that was the whole Let It Be marketing thing. The Beatles as nature intended. That was the whole thing on the back.
Mazzy, now that you're retired, that time is just around the corner. We're going to have to start watching the obits.
I'm not really retired. I ended my photo agency. I'm still doing that.
I want to plug something you guys can guess. On Tuesday, I'm going to have a live show with Patrick Milligan. We're going to be announcing the next 2 Rhino Hi-Fidelity releases. Does anyone want to guess which 2 they may be?
Paranoid.
A rock and a jazz, right?
It's a rock and a jazz, and it's not AC/DC or Black Sabbath, just so you know that.
Rycooter, Paradise and Lunch.
Is that a MoFi did that one, and MoFi I have that one.
But it's a Warner family. So
okay.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, Rycooter, that's going to sell 2 records. Go.
Right. It's a fucking great record. So you're an idiot if you don't own it. And I'm sticking to that. What else?
Warner Brothers.
Tower of Power would be awesome.
Yeah, those are cheap records, but yeah, but I guess that doesn't matter. You can't look at it that either. Like I have in the Dizzy collection.
James Taylor. I bet they'll do a James Taylor record.
You think
you have some? You got some Tower of Power in there, Mazzy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, save that with my Richard Pryor.
We got to do a flip through one of these days. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they're probably going to redo something.
Something readily available
before, because what a lot of people know is 10, 12 years ago, the Rhino, they were cutting a lot of stuff all analog, like the Van Morrisons and stuff like that. So, they've got all that stuff. Probably still
no Black Sabbath.
It's not Black Sabbath. It's not AC/DC. So that's not happening.
Lame.
Warner
It's got to
Brothers.
have some sizzle because the second releases were a little received soft in the marketplace. People were very excited about the Cars, even the Coltrane, but the Van Morrison, I forget what the jazz title was, a little soft.
So, well,
what
would you guys like to see? Because I think Rhino probably wants to know what we'd like to see as well and help their market.
It's not going to be Little Feat or Randy Newman. It's not going to be. I'm trying to think of Warner Brothers catalog or Reprise. Obviously, no Neil Young.
Please tell me they're not going to jump in and do a Van Halen before MoFi gets theirs together.
Oh, please.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be funny?
Would be great.
Please.
What's up with that Van Halen stuff for MoFi? Just
well, Steve, I'm glad you brought this up.
2.5 years since they made that announcement on the Van Halen catalog. What's going
Tim,
on?
Tim, you read my mind. When you were showing those Van Halen, it was a triggering moment. And here's why. Okay. Because I recently moved, and so I had to change my address. And I went
Are you in Omaha?
I'm moving to Omaha. I had to give them my new address. Yes. Okay. Black Car is my favorite. Yes, but
Deep Purple in rock.
No, but no. So contacted Music Direct. I'm like, hey, I'm moving, and then I realized exactly what Tim said. It's been almost 2 calendar years since I placed that order when they announced all those titles: Van Halen, the Eagles, Clapton, yada yada. And so you know what I did? I broke up with them. I'm not breaking up with Mobile Fidelity. We're still going to be friends with benefits, but I'm not going to hold this pre-order in perpetuity until they decide to make these titles. I think it's absolute. Now they don't charge you. I'll give them credit for that. They don't charge you up front, but for Pete's sake, when are you going to make these products that you advertised 2 years ago? Silliness.
It is peculiar.
What do you guys think of? What do you guys think of Rhino's sort of business plan? Just going straight to their website, not getting the retailer involved. Limited 5,000.
I think consumers are more technologically savvy, and I think that I can understand that the mom and pops and indies are a little upset because they do want a little of that sizzle if it's a sizzle title. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and if Rhino's capturing more margin going D2C, I'm not surprised. And guess what? Here's my money if the title's right.
I don't want to kill a dead horse, but hopefully they've got their packaging in order.
Well, yeah, the packaging is piss poor. It's third world nation quality. It's terrible.
I think it's going to be a Leon Redbone box set.
Cut by Kevin Gray. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but
those are good records.
Well, then you're going to have Mazzy. You're going to have to tune in on
Doobie Brothers
Tuesday, November.
Hell yeah! Let's get some Michael McDonald up in here.
No, the one with Listen to the Music, pre Michael McDonald. That's the best sounding record.
First dudes.
Patrick Simmons and
Peter, Paul, and Mary, 1700.
Okay, so then what about some jazz stuff? What do you think it'll be? Anyone?
Feels like we're covered on jazz, and everything else has been reissued like 3 or 4 times. I mean, if you can't find a copy of Blue Train out there, I don't know what's wrong with you. I mean, Elusive Disc has them on sale for like 50% off the Tone Poets. So
wow.
Yeah. Well, that's where Kraft kind of fell short because with their small batch, they started out kind of hot, and then they did that Miles title that Chad was also doing. It's like, why am I paying more for something I can get almost 50% off? And so that's what I mean by the sizzle. When they it's okay to miss a step, but then when your next step is also flat, like you're almost DOA like the Kraft small batch. I'm not even interested anymore because I don't have any consumer confidence.
You know what's a really good record? This is serious. It's a tacky. We sold that in our store. This record. It's a comp. It's a box set. It's 3 or 4 records. It came out like in 73.
Hold that up. I want to see what you're looking at here.
It's a box that came out. It's basically one of those greatest hits, all Warner Brothers stuff, but it's not the ones that you bought the samplers for $1. These are the hits. This sounds friggin' amazing. And I still have my copy, and I put it on, and it's got everyone. It's got like America and the Beach Boys and Jackson Brown and the Byrds, the later Byrds, Crosby, Nash, the Doors, Eagles, Sawia stuff. And every track is good, really well mastered for a comp.
I saw this. I posted this on the MoFi buy and sell. Walmart is selling some of the MoFi one steps at like $60, $70 per.
That's what they should be priced at. Let's be honest.
That's crazy. I was like, is this actually real? Because in Canada, we don't have Walmarts, at least in Vancouver. We don't have Walmarts that sell vinyl.
Canadian Tire, they don't play in that space?
Canadian Tire, no. They sell CDs at our Walmarts, but not vinyl.
But, you know, I think that when Walmart, the way...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Look at that.
George.
Oh, Horatio, Horatio, art thou, Horatio.
I could have been a.
Time to call it finished.
You're the scum that did this to my daughter.
He said something about Walmart. He'll come back up. I don't know. Anyways.
The ghost of Sam Walton pulled him down to the
There you
shadow.
go.
That's like the opening scene of The Godfather.
It is true. So no, I mean Walmart in Canada, we don't have any vinyl. I mean, at least in the Vancouver area, that's for sure. And I will say, I know the Atlantic 75 series or UHQRs that are out there. I've got a friend in Toronto area or the Ontario area from the soundchoice.ca. If you're Canadian, guys, go to the soundchoice.ca and you can order UHQRs, Atlantic 75. Not going to charge your credit card. Pre-order that stuff, and the shipping's going to be not as bad. Plus, you won't have to worry about all that duty. So check them out, soundchoice.ca. And there, Mr. Borden's back. Here he is.
I have no idea what's going on here, man. Like, and then my neighbors were coming down, like, and they don't understand. Like, I'm streaming now. Please wait. You know,
is that a code word?
Your neighbors? What do you mean? What do you mean?
They turned the pineapple.
I live in the bottom floor of a giant house in Piedmont, and the neighbors that own the house live upstairs, and I have the downstairs floor to myself.
So that's why you stream for 11 hours in the middle of the night, because everyone's sleeping. There's no noise.
That's right. I don't have any interruptions. But I don't know why every time I start talking, the thing breaks down. The point that I was going to make is that if you go back to the Eagles thing, the Eagles immediately sold like 2 million right out of the blocks because Walmart just buys them in bulk. And then Walmart now owns them. The Eagles count it as sales.
Mm-hmm.
And then Walmart has to just put them out and sell them. I have a feeling that that's what happened with the MoFi thing. I think MoFi chalked that all up already to sales. And now Walmart just has some and they're trying to put them out and sell them on the shelves. Because I think that's how Walmart buys all their products, right? There's a whole movie
The
about
record
it.
business today, unlike back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, there's no returns. And what happens is when they're doing a pressing, any label or doing something, they can do some exclusive thing with Target or Walmart. Okay, you want 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever, 3,000 copies at red, you get red. Target gets blue. You buy them, they're yours, you own them, and they can do whatever they want with them. And it's a sale. There are no returns. You don't get returns like we used to do, ship gold, return platinum type of thing, back in the old days when you'd overship something just to get the numbers out.
Definitely. Yeah.
What's happening with the MoFi lawsuit? That hasn't been actually, signed off on yet, right? They're still going through the motions on that one. So that will be interesting to see what happens there in the end. I don't know.
What about their pressing plant? I mean,
yeah. What about
the
that?
shroud of secrecy with that company is legendary because you never hear jack squat about anything, and they take 2 years plus to deliver on products that they're marketing 2 years ahead of time.
You're really hot and bothered over this Van Halen.
Listen. I was very excited about it, and then our good friend Melinda Murphy, they flew her out there, and she's on a gag order to not even speak about this. So something's got to be afoot. There's something going on here, and
maybe they're not going to do the DSD step on this. So it's just going to take so long. It's going to go AAA. That's why.
or maybe Melinda accidentally leaned on the lathe or something and ruined all 5 Van Halen records.
Actually, I would like Warner Rhino to do the stereo, not the mono of the Young Rascals. MoFi did the mono, and it's not a good record. Groovin', Young Rascals, great, fantastic record.
Didn't finish.
The stereo is the one to do, and that would be a great one for them to do. I know.
I'd love to have Krieg on. That'd be amazing.
They're all on a gag order at this point.
Yeah, they're not going to talk to anyone. Basically,
I don't think they're allowed to talk to anyone at all.
They will never do an interview ever again unless there's a fire. If there's a fire, the local news will.
They find kids. They find kids in cement walls for 6 years, and they come out. That's what is happening at those MoFi things up in Northern California.
So maybe this is what they're going to do. The wait for Van Halen is because it's going to be AAA.
Steve, I'd like to believe you, but the river, the Nile is a river in Egypt, so I'm going to think that that's probably not happening.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be a really cool.
It would be a nice Christmas surprise, but Christmas 2028. I don't know if I can wait that.
If that was the case, I would. 1984 is my favorite album from them. I would absolutely buy that one step if it was
right. And if I hear some good feedback, again, we're friends with benefits at this point. Myself and Mobile Fidelity, I'll go back if I hear enough good positive feedback. I'm not anti-DSD. I'm not anti-digital. I'm just waiting in perpetuity until the cows come home to actually get something I ordered almost 2 years ago. Foolish.
Well, I hope that they don't have 3 giant clicks in the middle of Jamie's crying.
Well, that's what happened with that Walmart, the Bellman, the Walmart pressing is not
I'm
good.
interested to know if Tim's has that.
I don't have that, and this is I think it's a 2015. I don't have that. I don't have.
I think the
I've heard
2015 is
about
clear, but they also used the Bellman plates for the Walmart reissues. So that again, that raises the question: is it
Same stuff? I have 3 copies. And they all have the clicks in the exact same spot. All 3 of them. Yeah.
This is going to sound real bad, but I just don't like that cheap looking Walmart hype sticker. Yeah, that's on the record. So
Does it say exclusive Walmart on it? What does it say?
I don't know. I just think they're hokey. I'm not into them, man. But I'm an old man.
Own it, Tim. I love it.
I can go find a near mint OG for $20 or $30, and I'm talking about the gold Warner Brothers Burbank labels. Unbelievable. Anyway.
Yeah,
I have them. I have them.
John Bandy said the MoFi catalog is pretty thin on vinyl and a bit more equipment heavy.
Yeah,
Is the catalog's out, right? The new, I guess, the music director, the MoFi catalog.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Who has it?
I haven't gotten it.
Anything interesting?
on the front.
No,
Look, it's John Lennon.
It's Robbie Robertson. That's Robbie
You
Robertson.
son of a bitch, Borden. No,
I know,
but
Mazzy.
to John's point, I mean, it's
Put it
80
up a bit. Go a little bit slower. Hang on.
Sure. All right, hang on.
Where's the Van Halen no one steps list?
Let's see
I wanna-
the
I don't know if I can do a reverse flip. I'm not this talented, but it's about 75% gear. I think that's safe to say.
But it's always been mostly gear.
Let's go back to the vinyl. I want to see what they got for
The vinyl's in the back, so I
Is
got
is Ravi Shankar still on that? What's going on with Ravi? I saw Ravi for the last 2
we
days.
got some U2. Everyone's going after U2. Here we go.
You too.
They've always had more gear in those catalogs.
Right.
So this is it. This is where I think it starts. You got their patented signature item with the bowed boxes. $125.
I have 3 friends that got greetings from Asbury Park, and they loved it.
They love it. What did Harry's music room?
Yes,
do you like it?
it needs to be recut.
Yep, so
I think Robbie's waiting in line for a Giles Martin remix.
I think Mazzy's channel should get a Giles Martin remix too. That'd be cool.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You should get Giles to remix your
get-
channel.
They're gonna get Peter, what's his name, down in New Zealand to remove Mazzy's voice from all the videos.
Peter Jackson on the Mal software. Yeah. Oh my God.
Hey, I want to talk about this one real quick.
Oh, you stole one of mine, Josh.
Hang
Yes,
on. Which
sir.
is it? What is it? Go for it.
So, okay, ERC just came out with I believe it's a 33 edition of this dude, and ERC, it's a $400 or $500 record. Well, these just came back in stock on AcousticSounds.com.
Yes.
This is cut AAA by Frank Merritt at the Carvery. It's cut at 45. It's not on. I think it's not on any particular label. I think
Ace Records is the owner, but they obviously are doing the Flying Dutchman imprint stuff there.
Yeah. I mean, get this before, because this is gonna go up in value, and you're gonna be like, how did I miss this? Get it right now, because you can get it under 50. Go to Acoustic Sounds or wherever.
You can. I saw it as low, I believe, at the website Music Today or somebody last night had for about 35 on sale. So
Wow.
highly recommended.
Get it.
Rock Soul Man, I can't give away clues. You'll have to see live November 14th, 12:30 when we do an exclusive announcement.
Since Chance showed the Music Direct catalog, I literally just got this in the mail. And
What is it?
For your packaging and shipping needs, I just got the new Uline catalog.
Okay.
This has
I'm
all
winding down
your
my
box-
agency,
any
but
box-
my influence
any
extends
box,
now.
any bubble wrap, any plastic. I mean,
Wow.
look, you can get like those too.
Beer guards. I
Nylon
need like
honeycomb
6 of them.
masks. You can get Rubbermaid recycling for your old box.
Uline catalog review brought to you by Mazzy.
UHQR boxes go in those recycling bins. There you go.
That's better than a Sears Wish book, man. Love it.
Oh my gosh. Anything else, guys? Anything other? Any cuts? What do you guys have there? Anything else?
Well, I think somebody said Walmart. George's computer froze up when the spirit of Sam Walton froze his internet when he was talking about Walmart. But that Walmart sale that they seem to do every year, everything all vinyl, $15. little underwhelming so far. It's only targeted titles, and it's very common titles. So I know I was reading a lot of stuff this morning on the Hoffman.
Triple A stuff at all, or is it all digital?
Oh, it's all digital. I mean, it's.
I thought if you take them up to the counter, the discount applies. No, I don't have a
no, because there are some foot soldiers on the ground at 6 a.m. local time who were trying it, and they were shut down. They were shut down hard. So now that's not to say that closer to Black Friday and Cyber that may change, but that's usually a pretty good value play for getting some decent, even new titles. I remember last year they had the Revolver reissue, not the deluxe, but the $30 one, 15. They had the Use Your Illusion albums from Guns N' Roses reissued, 15. So something to keep an eye on, but don't go to your local Walmart expecting $15 records today, unless you want Pearl Jam 10, Wu-Tang Clan, Michael Jackson Thriller, like, again, very AC/DC Black and Black, common title.
Adele
is going to outlast the Planet of the Apes in 400 years. There's going to be Adele records in the Forbidden Zone. There's going to be so many of those things left over.
Did you have another record you wanted to show, Tim? I saw you sort of put something.
The last two Steely Dan records, the 45s on Acoustic Sounds, $59.99. They're amazing. Great records.
It's amazing that they can sell a double record like that for $60.
Okay, but going back, Let It Be is now an $85 box set. Don't you think that the new 7-disc or 6-disc red and white will probably be $60 in a year from now?
Red and blue. The non-colored ones, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the red and blue.
Yeah.
So
another one comes to mind. The Tom Petty Wildflowers Chris Bellman cut. That is an amazing
very, very nice
record. Yeah.
There you go. I have that record. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Except for the third disc, the All the Rest disc, that was cut from his ADAT, the demos or whatever. But the first two, all analog.
Yep.
This is an amazing sounding record. It looks like it might be cheesy, but it's not. Shelly Manne and his friends. The drumming kicks ass. Is Leroy Vinegar on bass and Andre Previn piano. A lot of people don't know what a great jazz player Previn was before he worked with orchestras and symphonies and scores. This series, this is for contemporary or craft. These are like $35, I think, or something like that. They're really great sounding records. A whole series of these craft records.
Anyone else got some Atlantic stuff come in that you can talk about other than Phil Collins?
I didn't buy any of them.
I didn't get the second wave.
It sounds like everybody loves them. Yeah. I'm interested in the Genesis titles. I don't have anything yet, but I'm probably gonna.
Well, for me, I'm all over NXS Kick when it comes out. I have the Abbey Road cut 45 RPM. I have the original. I have the Universal one that came out a few years ago. So
you have the Mobile Fidelity silver label, Steve?
I do not have that one. I actually sold that one. I don't want that one. I've never heard anything great about that one. But yeah, how much are those ones right now in Discogs for the silver label? I might have to do that if I do like a blind shootout.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, and I don't think anyone here knows maybe, but about the recent reissues of the Nirvana ones, and someone said they weren't good, but I don't know.
No. So they did the Nevermind 30th last year, and they were just okay.
Yeah.
And early feedback I've read and heard from others is the In Utero they just put out, also just okay. Nothing. You'd be better off getting the Albini mix from like 2013. It's a better reissue.
Right. The all analog, the plates for those are dust, is what I've heard. The ones that they were doing, the Palace with the Bernie, which is basically just the metal work from the ORG, right?
Right.
So anything you're buying now that doesn't have that Palace sticker on it, it's a digital, high res digital situation. Yeah. Go find like a second European pressing of any of those. They sound awesome.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Like $100 for them.
Mm-hmm. I got one in Seattle, as a matter of fact, in Tacoma. Harry took me to a shop, and I got Nevermind European pressing, and it's very nice, very nice.
Yep.
Has anyone listened or anyone bought the? Was it the $30 Steely Dans that have come out through Universal or Geffen? No. Okay. There again, like that's just for a different market as well. Someone that just wants to get into Steely Dan, maybe doesn't have a $5,000 turntable and has a $300 turntable and wants a decent cut of that. I mean, that's pretty much what that market's for, I would have to think.
You know what I did get that sounds great, and my guess it's digital, but it's there's a smaller version of it, but the Diamonds and Pearls, the Prince
Prince, sure.
issue.
I did.
It sounds amazing. I got the big box, and it's overkill, but it's so good, and it sounds good. The pressings are great. You got it?
I got the Can't Buy a Thrill, the $30 one, the one that was not the acoustic sounds one.
The UMG, it sounds great. I like that one.
Yeah, it sounded fine.
Yeah,
I bought it thinking, okay, well, this will convince me to buy the other one, and then I was just like, oh, this is fine, and I didn't need to go buy anything else.
I got a question for you, George, and I know you can't speak for all mankind or all people in productions, but every time I see either musicians too, but producers, engineers talk about vinyl when they're not cutting engineers, they kind of joke and laugh at these people that are so obsessed with analog stuff. Like there's a great video from about 2 years ago with what's the guy, Steven, who does all the
LB?
no
Steven Wilson.
Stephen Wilson, of course, all digital, who does all the Jethro Tull Prague stuff,
remixes,
and the Abbey Road guy, Alan Parsons, in a conversation. They were kind of like at one point in that long hour, whatever conversation, we're kind of like dissing at all this obsession with records and all analog and stuff. And when you hear these engineers, especially Alan Parsons, really, who comes from that generation, kind of like almost like snickering at some of us or some of the people there. What's your take on that, George?
I'm right there with him. I was shocked when, like, a few years back, when people started, even before the MoFi part happened, where people were kind of like talking about, like, when they were saying AAA, like they were used to say AAD or DAD or DDD on
the SARS codes from CDs.
Yeah. Because like with CDs, it made sense because they were just telling you, like, this is not they were trying to point out this is not a digital recording. So there's a weakness here. It was analog tape. And they'd even put a little rider on there going, this is going to expose the weaknesses of analog tape. Like it was a thing. But, you know, in the recording studio, you have a goal, and it's simply to get the sound that you want to come out of the speakers. And it doesn't matter if it's a digital device or an analog device. There's been digital interplay with analog records. I mean, most of the records I made all the way up through the mid 2010 were analog tape for the most part, but there was digital aspects to all of it. And most of the time we wanted to mix down to DAT from analog tape because the DAT gave you didn't lose a tape generation.
Right.
So if you made it sound the way you wanted and it was coming out and sounding good coming out of the speakers off of the 24-track tape, you put it onto a DAT tape and you play that back. It sounded exactly like the mixing. You'd sit there and A/B it, the 2-inch tape versus the DAT, and it was identical. Whereas if you put it down to 1/4-inch tape, there was a little bit of a generational loss. And the transients got a little bit duller. So it was like, wow, okay, we can preserve, the exact what we're hearing in the room. It's like, it's funny now. I realize that some people kind of, I'm not going to say it like that. Some people mistakenly think that the reason a record sounds like shit is because it's digital or it has a digital step. And it's not the reason. The reason is just that it was done poorly, right, or something happened, and it's just like, Steve was talking with Miles, and Miles is like, look, man, there's been a million times I've been mastering a record and I was like, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, but they told me to do this. And so this is what they got. Right. I gave it to them. And I mean, there's been times where I've handed a master off to somebody at their direction and went, okay, go ahead, reject this one too. And they went, oh my God. Am I dying? Did I die? Am I back?
You blinked. Not much. You'll blink for, that's similar in my business because I represented commercial artists, and you're at the whim. You're hired to do a certain thing that they want you to do. They come to you and say, "Oh, we love your portfolio. We love your work. We love the artistic," and then it's the bait and switch. But you can't do that for us. We want you, and they dumb it down. That when you're a commercial artist, when you're working for the label or an artist and they want it louder or they want it you can't blame the mastering engineer or the photographer or the filmmaker, when it's a commercial project, you're getting paid to do it a certain way. That's just the reality of it. And as an end user, we might bitch about it, but that's the reality.
If you guys are life drawing, if you guys like life drawing right now, George Borden life drawing, you can basically use that still as your life drawing. We're going to take him off of there. I don't know what's going on. He's sharing the house with too many people over there. That's what's happening.
The authorities are coming to his door. They've already cut his internet.
Yeah, go back.
I went. The family's probably all there because it's Veterans Day holiday in America. So
there you go.
Could be using it up. You're right.
Yeah, Miles was on my show. That was a really fun interview. If you guys haven't seen that, go back and watch the Miles Scholl interview. Lots of fun. Yeah, I don't know what's happened to George, but I was going to ask him as well. I mean, probably in the coming, we talk about analog a lot. Probably in 10, 15 years, I don't think they're going to use much analog tape because that's going to get oxide and, there's damage to the tape. They want to preserve that. So I can't imagine, in 15, 20, 30 years, they're going to dust off the Beatles tapes and say, I'm going to cut these again straight from the tape. I doubt that will happen ever again. I really don't think that will happen. Any thoughts?
There's nothing wrong with high-res digitally sourced records. Look at the Smashing Pumpkins reissues. They're absolutely amazing, and they're digital, okay, but they're great. A lot of the XTC reissues are digitally sourced, and they're fantastic. So the important thing is having great music out available for people to buy. And that's the sad thing. Like back to the beginning, someone can walk in and not know that, oh, this is a remixed Abbey Road. It's not the original the way it came out originally. So it's sad that that's happening right now.
That was a DNS error. That was not me.
So where were we going with that? You were just mentioning before you were a good still life. You're like this. It was perfect.
I got a thing saying a DNS error has occurred and it couldn't reach the gateway. So it was like a weird thing. So anyways, all I was just saying was that,
and that was coming from Kansas, probably. There was a Kansas.
Yeah. It's funny that like when you're mastering a record, you get a particular source and you do what you think you should do. And then you give it to the client. The client comes back and they go, well, I'd like a little more of this. Oftentimes, my clients are trying to be competitive with other records that they've heard that are out in the world already. And they're records that sort of sound horrible. And you're like, oh, you don't really want to do that, do you? Well, yeah, because I don't want somebody to put my record on after listening to so-and-so's record and have my record sound weak. That's literally a thing that I've been told a million times by clients. And it's like, but they're 20 years from now, their record's going to sound horribly weak and your record's going to sound good. So hold on to it for now. And let's not do that. Let's put a little pin in that little jumping on the bandwagon. But,
So George, when you went off the air, I was just mentioning to the guys here, like, master tape, like using the master tape to cut a record. Do you think that's going to be a big thing in 15, 20 years? Because as the tapes erode more, losing the oxide on the tapes, that's not a good thing. You can't at some point run these tapes much longer, right? I mean, that's why we're doing the DSD thing and the PCM thing. Is that what you think is going to happen?
If I was going to master a record right now, I would rather use a digital source than an analog source because I wouldn't want to be responsible for the potential of that tape to start shedding on my tape deck. I mean, there's times where I put on a tape that was only 10 years old. You put it on the machine and, like looks like fudge is collecting on the side of the tape head. And you're like, stop. You take, and it's the oxide is just coming off the tape. I personally wouldn't want to handle the original master of Stairway to Heaven. If I was given a chance to mess with it, I would rather have a high quality digital source for it and have unlimited tries.
Can you imagine being in the room when they do those great tapes? And they weren't used a lot, but like jazz tapes weren't used as much as rock and roll tapes for a lot of reasons. So you have Kevin Gray and Joe Harley in the room, going over those tapes, doing that wonderful thing. And they're probably sitting there doing shots and saying, oh, this is a piece of cake. This is going to come out great. This record, yes, we know how great these tapes sound. We don't even have to do very much. Now, of course, I love what those guys are doing, and I'm kind of, tongue in cheek doing it.
Great album.
But these tapes, my guess, Kevin always says, and Joe says, the tapes are great. They've had a couple issues where they haven't been able to do a certain title here and there, but for the most part, they're not like the Beatles or the Stones or Led Zeppelin, or have gone through all these different mastering things. So but they're locked up forever. Really, that's where we are right now. I don't see them taking out of Abbey Road Beatles to do a stereo set. That would be ideal. One more, come on, just one more, guys. One more stereo. See, all analog.
Think it'll happen? I want to see that happen, but probably not.
I don't think the estates. I don't think they care. You'd think that maybe someone like, out of all the quote, the children, Sean would be interested. But even I don't think, that's why the Lennon things haven't been all analog. And he's done a fantastic job. I think of all the estates, the Lennon estate has done the best with the archival series so far. They're consistent with their packaging. They sound really good for the most part, few exceptions. And Sean's been working on those, not with Giles, and I like what he's done for the most part.
You don't want to keep baking those tapes over and over again. You don't want to keep doing that,
Yeah.
If you got to bake it the first time, the best thing to do is transfer it right there.
I was going to say, wouldn't it be smart if you do an analog, just make a copy of that tape and then start playing that one back of the copy, so you're not losing more oxide in those masters. I mean, again, I'd be scared too if I was a mastering engineer. George, you're completely right. I guess every master engineer's probably effed up a tape or two in their career. So I mean, it has happened, I would assume.
And I know that people say that it's possible to make a tape-to-tape transfer that works good, whether it's reverse or whatever. There's a lot of ways to do it. But what you also got to do is you got to have two machines. You got to have this machine aligned exactly to the way that the machine that recorded this tape was aligned in the first place. And then when you're making that transfer, this one's got to be willing to accept it, and it's got to be, it can be difficult, and it's much. I'd say it's a much shorter thing to make the digital, transfer from the analog tape, and all the benefits of the analog tape are already there. It was already recorded with analog tape. It was already there. I mean, the idea that people, I think, keep getting hung up on is that the actual idea of the tape playing to the lathe, and in a way, it's true. The impulses from the tape are literally moving the cutting head actually via some EQ and gain structure and stuff like that, and amplification. But if you have really good converters and you're going through that same analog gear and you're still going through those really good amplifiers, that cutting head's going to move appropriately.
And I was gonna ask you that. So I think the most important thing would be a really good quality DA converter, and then that's going to make a huge difference when you're cutting that to the lathe. Correct?
Paramount.
Along with the console, of course, but that's a paramount thing.
I have a converter box that I only use when it matters. Like if it's something that's archival, I'm going to pull out a completely different set of conversion than I would just if I was just making demos or recording, guitars or vocals or things like that. So,
yeah.
I like Apogee. Because the clock too. I like the clock. I like Apogee, and I've tried many. There's all kinds of good ones.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's just people get into when digital. It has when people brick wall things, right, George? I mean, that's what we're talking about when people are compressing something to the point to where everything's at the same level, and it's made for young people, younger than Chance and I, who want to listen to their records through their AirPods.
Well, through their phones and stuff. Yeah, they're portables, right?
They don't have a hi-fi like, some of us, so and they think that that's what good music sounds like, and that's where digital music gets its bad, along with the no noise, right? We had the no noise that came in in the late 90s when these remastered albums were around, and the no noise is where people were like, "Ooh, I don't want that tape hiss on my CD." So they went and took the tape hiss off, but at the same time, they took off some of the information, and they sound like doo-doo, right? So
most people these days, younger folks, aren't listening to albums. They are listening to a vast library on set to random, shuffle. Yeah. and or a playlist that they've put together that's very specific. And what they don't want to have to do every song is reach down and change the volume from one song to another. So if you have 60% of these brick walled loud records happening, and then all of a sudden Beatles for Sale comes on, not to keep, but yes, to keep. And then you got to go, oh, let me turn this up so I can hear I'm a Loser. And then all of a sudden, Chronic 2000 comes on full blast, and you're like, whoa, and you're turning it back down. There's a reason there's a volume knob. There's a reason there's a volume control. But again, give me convenience or give me death. I'm jogging around the lake. I don't want to be bothered. Just give me everything at the exact same level so I can set my level once and then everything's fine. It's about convenience, really. It's not about,
Josh, I mean, this audio guy here, hang on. Just please, let's just talk about this. So you did it at the top again. We had the big elephant in the room. We did this whole thing. If you missed it as well, can you comment on this comment, please?
There wasn't any damage done. The only people that are talking about it are people on the Steve Hoffman forum. The regular consumers, and most people aren't nerdy like us. You know what I mean? So there wasn't any damage done. If you want to come after me or try to ruin my reputation, I mean, I guess that's all on you, but I'm not trying to ruin anybody's reputation. Analog Productions is the best of the best, and they've been doing it for decades.
And you work for them, so you have no qualms with them at all.
Yeah, I have no beef. I have no beef. Okay. And hey, yeah, I am sorry that it caused some problems for some people, but I mean, the people that think I have a malicious intent are people that do things maliciously themselves, and so they think that because they in their hearts feel that way, that I did it, that I also had malicious intent. And I'm telling you, I did not. That's not who I am. Not even a little bit. So, I mean, I can apologize till the cows come home, but there's always going to be people behind anonymous, whatever YouTube channels or whatever that are going to come after me. And that's fine. I know who I am, and that go buy the Asia. I love it. I didn't say anything bad about it. And, it is what it is. That's it.
I've heard a rumor that the reason George uses a dark room like that is because he never wears pants. He's never worn pants in his life since
he doesn't wear shoes. Don't get it twisted. We done saw it last night.
Since he hasn't taught at the Art Academy or the Art Audio Academy or the Audio Emeryville Academy, whatever.
Oh my God. We were talking digital as well, but I mean, pre-DSD gate, everyone was hyped up about One Steps and MoFi, saying they're the best thing ever and sounded the greatest, other than Carole King's Tapestry, right, George? But I mean, so all of a sudden we find out there's a DSD step in there, and then MoFi is not the greatest any longer. Does that make a lot of sense? Are people that mad?
Yes, they are. I'm not, but believe me, I've had like personal, arguments with people about it, because I think some people who got pouty, I get it. MoFi lied, all that stuff, and by me, in my case, saying how I grade is, they feel I'm telling them that they're wrong and that they shouldn't feel that way. Feel the way you want. I don't care. But again, some of us called out, well, I liked it last week, I don't like it this week, is kind of disingenuous. Hate that they fucked you over. I get that.
Yeah.
But I still, to this day, have never seen a sentence written by MoFi that says they never used a digital step. I've never ever heard that original master recording means anything other than they had the original master recording in hand.
There's 2 or 3 gotcha videos where
that in customer service also would tell people.
Plus the sheet in the One Step that misses out like the DSD step in the pictures.
Oops.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, everyone still praises Abrascus, the very first One Step in 2016, I think it was 2,500 pressed. I mean, that's still the ultimate Abrascus cut.
Yeah.
I think the biggest cheat in the whole thing is One Step being better than a regular record. That's the one that blows my mind. The digital and analog thing is so much smaller to me than the One Step thing being that much better. I don't necessarily, I think that 45 RPM with a good cut is going to be fine even if you make 50,000 of them from a single lacquer, if you make enough stampers. But I don't think the One Step thing is that big of a deal.
I know this is old news, this whole MoFi thing, and bringing it up is interesting. But the thing is that the other side. I hate the other side. This is like everything's on one side or another in the world now, which is kind of fucked up. But they'll say, well, that's not totally true, Maslov. A lot of people heard something off on those MoFis. Remember that? Something off on those. Well, maybe they were mastered shitty, maybe there was something off. You didn't hear anything digital, probably.
People were talking shit about the Beatles box set, but that was from the 80s, and that was well before digital DSD anything. Those were analog cuts, and people were still having a problem with the mastering choices. Perfect example,
the blue boxes.
No, that MoFi Beatles box set.
MoFi. Yeah,
that was all day long. That's all analog. Yeah,
and it's horrible.
They actually had the master tapes in their hands. The ones, like there they are, and it's like they still messed it up.
Now that's bad EQ choices on that one.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. And
bad mastering choice. But that's not a Stan Ricker thing. It's Stan Ricker was told to do the Smiley EQ or whatever by the MoFi executives. It wasn't Stan Ricker that said, "Hey, I'm going to do it that way."
That's the thing we were talking about like 20 minutes ago. It's the client, and he's not the client, but I guess he is the client because he's MoFi. The client dictates it, and you might not like to do it. What we do a lot, to give Chad his credit, most of us like the stuff Chad puts out, and he seemingly is the ultimate guide to how they sound. And I think 99% every record I bought that Chad's done, I friggin' love, except Pretzel Logic, But I think his batting average is pretty solid there, despite my physicality of certain things.
Well, I mean, the Asia UH Cara's got some great praise from the vinyl community. So now going forward, Gaucho, I think we determine is the next one or the next UHQR in December. I expect that one to sound, I think, pretty damn good as well. And if you're a Gaucho fan, I know I'm going to get that one. I think Tim, you're a Gaucho guy, right? You're getting Gaucho. Yep. I mean, I think I'm excited for that one. I have the old MCA half speed. I think of that one years back that I have. Of that Gaucho. Sounds pretty good. So I guess let's wrap it here. So now we went way overtime. This has been good. Huh? So
do we get overtime paid today?
You're gonna get overtime pay. So first of all, again,
is it scale or wage? I need to know.
No, we're gonna do scale, but again, November. This is big news, guys. I'm excited to be able to have this on my channel. Rhino Hi-Fidelity's next release announcement will be on Tuesday, November 14th. Hit your notification because at 12:30 I'm going live with Patrick Milligan.
Come on, man. All right.
We're announced.
I'm just gonna.
You will not silence George Borden.
Wow.
Fidelity.
Wow. So we'll be announcing the 2 titles for the Rhino Hi-Fidelity release. It will come out Friday, November 17th. So I'm excited about that. Should be a lot of fun. I think.
Yeah. Be cool.
Yeah. Be good.
Well, we'll leave it. You guys want to hear the whole Slapshot thing again before we leave? We can leave
a great
that
outro.
if you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me before there's a record. If you're a Grateful Dead fan, you need to run out and get Without a Net. That's the one that's been going for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
It came out. I think it came out today.
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool.
And what's going to happen if you miss it? You're going to get screwed again, and it won't be available. So if it's a double album, I don't know how much it costs. It's probably digital, but it sounds great.
Mazzy, dare I say, buy now or cry later.
There you go. Well, thank you guys. We'll leave it. We'll do the outro here with Paul Newman and Who Owns the Chiefs. How much you got your commission today from Uline, so that's pretty good. So on behalf, see you guys. Oh my God. All right, here's the Slapshot thing, guys. Have a good weekend.
They're looking for you guys. There's got to be some misunderstanding.
So come and get us.
Yeah. No, they have a risk. Look at his lip. Somebody threw a fucking tire chain, hit him right in the mouth. Scratches made by human fingernails. This kid is taking a savage beating.
Hey, fellas, there's 6 of them out there for us. 6?
Yeah. You're gonna put you in the same jail with Oglethorpe.
Bye-bye. Oglethorpe.
That's the best, man. That was a good one.
Love it.
That was a good
All right,
one.
gentlemen.